Hey y'all, this is part 14. I think we left off with me being in one of the group homes. I've made a couple of friends, Justin and Anya, and some other people. I don't really remember their names anymore, but anywho, I was having a hard time while I was there and coming to terms with the fact that I wasn't just, that I was trans, and I came out to my mom over the phone, and let's just say it wasn't pretty. She said she would never accept me, and I would always be her little girl. And um, yeah, it was just, and every conversation after that, was her being a bitch, to be honest. And to the point where I had to have staff on the phone or near me while I was on the phone with her, um, so I wouldn't fall apart. And yeah, it was just not really good for a while there. And I had to go to the hospital a few times, and finally, when I wasn't even suicidal, they sent me to the hospital one time, and it kind of made me suicidal, being sent to a hospital. And I got sent to one in Memphis, Tennessee, and I left there wanting to still die, and I had even tried to kill myself while there, and still they sent me out, and I wound up on in a home of sorts, like a shelter, for like maybe 24 hours, and then I got put back into that same hospital. I think I spent like a total of like a month and a half there between the two times that I was there. The second time I was there, I actually got hit by somebody, and then that person who hit me wound up, being really cool afterwards. When I left there, I got sent to CARM, Knox Area Rescue Mission, which is in Knoxville, Tennessee. I was there for maybe 24 hours, and on the way there, though, I had found out through a Facebook post that my ex Corey had died. And like I said, I was there for maybe 24 hours before I got put into another hospital, Peninsula, um, in Louisville, Tennessee. I think that's where they were at. I don't know. They were right outside Knoxville. And I was there for a month and still wanted to die afterwards. I wound up going right back to CARM, and I was on the phone with my sister on my way in, and backtrack. At Peninsula, I had an amazing therapist named Robin, and she helped me with the whole grieving thing of Corey's death, as well as saying to me, like, what would your sister say if she found out you wanted to die? Like, how would she feel? And that brings me to the next thing. I was on the phone with my sister, and I asked her, like, how she would feel, and she would have been, like, devastated or something. That's probably not the word she used, but something along those lines. And so something told me to go, like, my gut told me to go in. So I did, and you had to go through this class when you first get in, a introduction class to it, and they told me about Launch Point and Bria. Launch Point is a month-long program they do, spiritual class, and as well as like, hey, help you work through stuff and everything. I wasn't sure I planned on going, but the guy who ran the class was named Judge, and he was also the one that did the introduction thing. I hadn't planned on actually going, but when I saw him like that morning that I was supposed to go to Launch Point, he's like, "You coming?" And so I kind of just went. I go in there and there's tables set up all over the place. I didn't realize there were supposed to be girl tables and guy tables, but I go to sit at one of the tables that this really cool guy who was sitting at that had this light inside of him that just drew me towards that table. And I go to sit there and some lady's like, "You can't sit there, you're a girl." I'm like, "No, I'm not." And the cool guy, his name is Josh Becky, was like, "Oh, you can stay here." And so I did. um, and one of the workers, like, I went and asked her about it, and she said, "Yes, you can sit there at those table if you feel more comfortable there." um, Anyways, Josh wound up becoming like one of my best friends ever. And um, the light inside of him was a brighter light than I had ever seen, even in pastors. And I had gone away from being the whole Christian thing and was more into paganism and stuff at that point in time. And it was a relief, like, yes, this is what I'm missing. And I wanted that, you know. And Launch Point kind of changed a lot of things for me, especially with Josh. Like, we had a lot of talks and we became really close. Um, and, uh, but as I told him though, like, there was this bridge or overpass really, um, right down the road from Palm where a lot of people did drugs and stuff. And he knew I wanted to go over there and just overdose and die. But I chose to stick around because of that light in him. And I'm really glad I did. Um, Part of the program is you had to help out somewhere all the time. Like each day was a different thing you did. Sometimes it was cleaning up in the women's dorm or the men's dorm if you were a man. I was in the women's dorm because of what I biologically was, unfortunately. Anyways, I we also had to do laundry day and stuff like that. Everybody's day was I at the end of that we had a little graduation ceremony and I was actually able to stand up in front of people and not like have my voice like this tiny. I was a lot happier. It was very different for me. And after grad and after I graduated from Launch Point, I did go to the program called Bria for time being. And that's a whole new set of stuff going on. I will tell you, though, a glimpse into the future, Josh and I are still best friends, and maybe something more. We're still trying to figure stuff out. But anyways, as you can see, he's still right here. And yeah, but anyways, as you can figure out, things do get better. Things aren't necessarily, "Oh, hey, things are better, let's going straight up, better, better, better." No, things are kind of like this and like waves. But anywho, just don't give up hope and peace, y'all.